Hey everyone. Okay, so a couple things to note about this episode right out of the gate. The first thing is, I think they swapped the placement of Kaido's flashback, because in the manga, if I remember correctly, I believe we got the flashback to Kaido's past in between the final moments of his defeat, whereas here it's used as sort of build up in order to save the final big moment of his defeat for the end of the episode, which gets the other big thing about this, which is they extended or added, I think, a little bit to Kaido's flashback. And honestly, I'm kind of two minds about this little change here as a whole, because on one hand, I'm glad the anime did decide to give us just a little bit of extra context to Kaido's past, however small. But on the other hand, I can't help but feel something is lost by the fact that Kaido's past flashback was swapped around in this order, because for me at least, I had always perceived Kaido's flashback as sort of his life flashing before his eyes moments before he had become accepting of his defeat by remembering everything that brought him to this moment in time. And while you could argue the same message is portrayed here in the anime, I do admit is a little bit more muddled by the fact there's a little bit more of a struggle following the flashback. And I do need to emphasize I still liked how this played out. I just don't know if I like it as much as I did from reading when I read in the manga. Although I'll still offer credit where it's due. Pacing wise, I think when I look at this fight overall, pacing wise, I still do prefer the anime's version of this fight as a whole compared to overall compared to the manga. With that said, though, I also like how Kaido's flashback really adds a lot of perspective to Kaido's life and how he's perceived his own self-worth this entire time, which is to say all he's known is battle and war. So because of this, it's the only way he's perceived how you survive and live in this world, which is the only way you can prove your worth. The only way you can live is through battle. Nothing else matters. And now that he has finally found someone who could defeat him in Luffy, I think a small part of Kaido might be able to find a little bit of peace in defeat. Now that basically his rampage and his ambitions have finally been crushed. I think in some small way it is going to give Kaido a greater perspective in the long term, honestly. And yeah, I especially like the little touch that Kaido asking Luffy about his goal and what he truly wants to achieve by becoming Pirate King, and how the question itself reflects how Whitebeard had asked him when he had first joined the Rocks Pirates. And truth is, it isn't necessarily a bad question to ask Luffy either, because for as much as Luffy's talked about being Pirate King, he's never truly answered why he wants the power that comes with finding the One Piece, outside of the very vague answer of Pirate King is the one in the world who's the most free person. But he's never let it known what his true ambition is. So for however small it's worth, I do appreciate how Kaido challenged Luffy's ideals by asking that question, and it is completely in character when he answers that he just wants a place where he and his friends can eat together. It's just so perfect for Luffy's character, and in not only in kind of the way of how we know Luffy to be, but it does also beautifully tie with what we know about Luffy's history as well, of growing up in Grey Terminal with Ace and Sabo, where they struggle just to get by with both food, money, and everything else. And I think more than anything, I think Kaido wanted confirmation of his own, because he thought he knew who Joy Boy was, which is to say, I think he saw King as that person, but ever since he began fighting Luffy, I think he started to become more unsure of himself and wanted some kind of sign that Joy Boy really existed and that he was someone else, maybe that Luffy truly was the one to finally defeat him. With that said, I think if I did have one major problem with this episode, it's that thing where everything else surrounding the Kaido versus Luffy finale stuck out like a sore thumb, in the sense of it mostly being wrap up, and thus felt like the weakest part of the episode. There wasn't anything spectacular or amazing about those parts of the episode. Again, I don't necessarily hate those parts, but they are still kind of the weakest, I guess you could say. And yeah, aside from that, this is definitely an episode where, while the art itself was for the most part on point, the animation, the animation part of it, the animation department was a little bit lacking in places. Like, don't get me wrong, there were still a lot of great moments of great animation in this episode, but at the same time, you could. It's one of those episodes where so also one of those episodes because also one of those episodes where pretty much because the pacing was vastly slowed down a lot more in this episode, you could kind of tell that there were areas where they cut corners as well, and so it wasn't as easy to hide in this case. And yeah, we finally see Momonosuke grab, which, yeah, obviously the episode also ends as we see Momonosuke grab control of his own flame clouds just in time to prevent Onigashima from falling the moment Kaido's defeated. And again, I already said my piece on this, so I'm not gonna rehash too much, but yeah, again, yeah, it's one of those moments that, while epic to see Momonosuke come into his own and become his own person and control his own power, it's I do still question just the validity of why it took him so long to finally get this right. Like, I know it's anime, I shouldn't question it, blah blah blah. I've heard the argument before, but for all the flaws brought up about Wano, this is the one that this is honestly the one flaw I see that bothers me the most, which is, for however much it's justified as a shonen trope of pushing past your limits in those final moments of the battle, this still felt like something that needed to happen much sooner and was felt needlessly dragged out for the sake of giving Momonosuke his moment alongside Luffy. Like, it felt like this moment existed like solely to mirror Luffy's accomplishment of defeating Kaido, and like, it just felt like that was the only reason that it was done for this. But I don't know, like, again, I guess it's not too bad, but it is, again, one of those things where it really took Momonosuke this long to get it done. Again, this isn't just a problem with the anime, it's a problem I have with the manga too, but it's like, yeah. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Analyst, Crunchyroll, push the notification bell, hit the subscribe button, and just share the video around, guys. Dark Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, everyone.